Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jake, the Scary Story Guy, and today we're talking about a new release called The Gorge, starring Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy. Now, this is not a theatrical release. This is exclusively a property of Apple TV at this point, I believe, but it has all the properties of a theatrical release. Big budget, A-list stars. Honestly, I felt like I was in a theater, and then I was like, what the hell are my dogs doing here? But no matter whether you, dear viewer, are lounging in a Cinemark luxury lounger, or you're laying in bed trying to recover from the food coma you gave yourself at the steakhouse you took your wife to for Valentine's Day. Sorry, that was probably overly specific. But in either situation, you can always count on the Scary Story Guy to give you the best opinions on all horror and horror-adjacent movies and books. The best opinions, folks. Many people are saying this. I clicked his video. I said, wow, what a great opinion. So without further ado, like this video, subscribe to this channel, click that notification bell if the mood strikes you, and let's get to it. So The Gorge was directed by Scott Derrickson, and it stars Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy as elite snipers who are manning watchtowers on either side of a mysterious gorge. They don't know each other, they're not supposed to interact. Their mission is to stop whatever's on the inside of the gorge from getting out. But because they both have a pair of binoculars, they each realize their counterpart looks like a movie star, and an unlikely romance begins to bloom between them. Now, as you can probably tell from that description of the premise, this movie's kind of all over the place, but I mean that as a compliment. I've always quite liked Scott Derrickson's movies. He's become quite an accomplished director in the horror genre, from The Exorcism of Emily Rose all the way back in, I think, 2005, to Sinister, to The Black Phone. I actually know a guy who made it his personal lifelong mission to get Scott Derrickson to publicly admit that his first movie he ever directed was called Hellraiser Inferno. I guess he'd been forgetting to mention that. I think he actually did get a tweet from Scott Derrickson acknowledging Hellraiser Inferno on his birthday, no less. So, you know, whatever goals you have in life, let this be your sign to keep going. But the reason that Derrickson does a really impressive job here is that The Gorge feels like it's 4 movies all kind of meshed into one, and all of the movies end up working. At times, in the first hour especially, this is a straight up chick flick. It's romantic, it's lighthearted, and then it becomes something else entirely. And I want to draw a quick distinction here, because some movies give you like a genre fake out. For instance, Red Eye, the Wes Craven movie with Cillian Murphy and Rachel McAdams. It starts out like, oh, there's a bit of a meet cute, and you think it's going to be this kind of romantic movie, but it's just not. This is a chick flick romance kind of movie and a bunch of other stuff too. And the other stuff is very surprising, but it doesn't negate the romance. Because like I said, even though The Gorge is weaving in and out of several different genres, it's managing them all surprisingly well. Specifically, I think the movie succeeds most notably in its kind of romantic comedy elements. I wasn't expecting that, but The Gorge is a very funny movie. It's very charming. The chemistry between Teller and Anya is noticeable right off the bat, right? Because they're not even next to each other, and you're just like, oh yeah, they're feeling it. Anya is very charismatic in this, which is kind of a nice change of pace from a lot of other horror movies that she's in, because, you know, while fantastic, she tends to be a little haunted, a little morose. And with Miles Teller, it's a bit more subdued. It's kind of like an anti-charisma, if that makes sense. But I don't know. He and Anya just play really well off of each other in every scene they're in together. At one point, the movie just turns into like a Taylor Swift music video. They're like writing cute signs to each other and holding them up across the gorge, playing chess together, playing the drums, just in case, you know, you forgot they were in Whiplash and The Queen's Gambit. A little on the nose, perhaps, but it was fun. I liked it. There's a solid 30-minute stretch in this movie that is just like nothing but I've got a smile on my face, you know, I'm rooting for these guys. But, and this is important, all throughout, the movie is continuously building intrigue about the gorge. What's going on down there? You're getting little bits and pieces to chew on before eventually this just becomes a straight up action horror movie. There's actually more than a bit of annihilation to it, because the things that are happening, it's not just like normal horror stuff. It's like very weird, like I shouldn't be seeing this kind of thing. And you really get that from both of the lead performances when shit starts to hit the fan, because it's not just like, you know, normal horror movie screams. It's like these two are deeply disturbed at what they're seeing. And speaking of disturbed, I watched this with my wife, and she was losing it. Like, it just sitting straight up, like hands going to her mouth. There were gasps, there were yelps. She's shouting advice to the characters. I don't remember the last time I saw her get so invested in a movie. Because even though it's only PG-13, there's a level of intensity to The Gorge that just frankly really surprised me. Like, this is a kind of, you know, hands sweating, you're clenching, gripping whatever you can kind of movie. Visually, the movie is very impressive, both in terms of the set design and the creature design. The set is really cool. There's all this mist in the gorge, but there's like different colors of mist based on where in the gorge you are. So you can kind of tell, like, oh, we're in a new place. you know, expect anything at this point. And personally, I thought the movie's big budget really shone in the creatures and the effects. Some of it's special effects, but a lot of it's practical, and it's done really well. The soundtrack's incredible too. There's an amazing score from Reznor and Ross, who've done a lot of great work in the past. By the way, did you guys know that the Twisted Sister song, We're Not Gonna Take It, was heavily inspired by the Christmas hymn, O Come All Ye Faithful? They're basically the same song. Thank you to this movie for helping me realize that. Now, is this movie a little dumb at times? Certainly you will go on like reviews of this movie and people will be pointing out like plot holes and inconsistencies and you know, why didn't they do this? Problem is, I just don't think that's the kind of movie they're going for here, right? There's the kind of sci-fi that's like, we're gonna really dive into the nitty-gritty of these big philosophical ideas. And then there's the kind of sci-fi that's like, we're gonna use these big ideas, these concepts, as a set piece for a kick-ass movie. And The Gorge is definitely the latter of those. If you're thinking too hard while you're watching The Gorge, I would submit that you're doing it wrong, okay? It's not a dumb movie, but I also wouldn't call it cerebral. It's definitely more concerned with the spectacle than it is with the logistics, if that makes sense. So, you know, on a certain level, there is a part of me that wants to come away from a movie with sci-fi elements feeling like Interstellar, Arrival, Ex Machina. It's just, it gets better the deeper you think about it. But man, there's nothing wrong with having some fun. You know, like at a certain level, it doesn't always have to be a film. It can just be a movie. You got movie stars being movie stars. You got a compelling romance. You got great action sequences. This movie is just fun. So you may hear mixed reviews about The Gorge, but let me be clear. I loved it. This was a lot of fun. It's the definition of a popcorn movie. It makes for a great date night. It's a great movie to watch with friends. It's a crowd pleaser, you know? It's highly versatile. And I am gonna give The Gorge 4 stars out of 5. All right, guys, as always, stay tuned for more spooky content coming soon. I'm gonna be checking out The Monkey, so I'll let you know what I thought about that. Also, probably next week, I'm gonna drop a review of the only terrible horror movie Anya Taylor-Joy's ever been in, so, you know, you can look forward to that. But in the meantime, thank you for watching this video, and here's hoping you survive to see the next one.